I make on average about $60 an hour working from home out of a bedroom in my apartment. I never went to college. I work on my own schedule and I don't have some crazy boss that's telling me what to do at every turn. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I do in detail and you can kind of decide if this is a good career path for you. On average, I make about $10,000 a month. And if you break it down to an hourly basis, that's about $60 per hour. But before I jump into what I'm doing now, let me show you what I was doing before for comparison. So first I started out by doing I was waiting tables and then I was doing landscaping, construction, and pretty much just trying a little bit of everything because I didn't go to college. I was pretty miserable with what I was doing because I felt like I had so much more in me as a person and I knew that I was capable of more, but I just didn't really know what to do or where to go, which was super frustrating because I had all this energy and fire in me that I just couldn't go in any direction, and I felt stuck. Because for me, I didn't really grow up with money, and I was desperate to be successful and give my family the life that I didn't really have. And I wanted to take care of them and give them exactly what it is that I had kind of wanted in a childhood, and also just kind of give them the finer things of life, if that makes sense. At some point, I was so desperate after years of working 2 and even 3 jobs at a time at some points, 6 and 7 days a week, just trying to save up in the rat race. I even considered going back to college at one point, which was for me, this was the end of the line almost. And the reason that I felt this way was because I couldn't make sense of working for 4 years to not make any money, to go in debt, to then try to make money on an hourly basis, that when I knew that there was other options, I just didn't really know how to find them. But there I was, desperate, starving to be successful, working my ass off day in and day out. And at this point, I was working in the nicest restaurant in town, in a fine dining restaurant in my hometown of North Carolina. And this guy comes up to me, and I honestly thought that maybe it might be a scam, because this wasn't the first time that I had really gotten pitched on something or been told, offered an opportunity. Because when you work in fine dining, they're not that's not crazy rare, because you run across affluent people, and then you also run across people that are running a scam and are trying to get you in on it because they think that they look successful because they went to a nice restaurant one time. And so at first I was I don't know, this is kind of weird. The way he's approaching it was kind of sketchy. But here I was, literally waiting tables, slaving away to barely make between $15, $20 an hour, depending on the Saturday nights and Friday nights were good, but sometimes I would leave a 6-hour shift and having made $30, $40. But the guy that came in was making 7 figures a year, which at this point totally blew my mind, because where I'm from, that never happens. When I was talking to this guy, what I kind of realized was that it's not necessarily about how hard you work, but how much leverage you have in business. And so I was trying to figure it out, how is it that some people are making millions of dollars while others are working 2 jobs like me, selling my soul to some company I don't even believe in, and still struggling? Well, this is when everything kind of happened, and at this point I was presented with an opportunity that I never even thought of getting into before. And that opportunity was selling life insurance to people in retirement. And when I first saw this, I was just baffled, because I was I didn't even know that was a profession. I didn't even know what a weird random thing to make really crazy money at. But what happened was I looked into it. I went to they have a career night that they did at the company I started at. And they were basically just talking about how life insurance sales works. And so basically when I saw how it worked and I saw the compensation plan, I was wait, hold on. So I just have to go and talk to people in retirement and I get paid crazy money to do it? And that the answer was pretty much yes. So I was oh my gosh. And this was kind of more old school, so I had to go to people's houses, and it was a great place to start, but it wasn't the end of the line for me. And that's kind of how I ended up where I am now, where I work from home and I sell life insurance all over the phone. And basically the way that it works is I just call people back on a request that they sent in, and I ask them questions, and more or less I kind of see if they have a problem that needs to be solved, and if they do, I help them with that, and if they don't, then I either move on or just ask them if they know anybody that might need any helping. So the way that I get paid is that basically whenever somebody commits to a payment amount, I get paid a percentage of whatever it is that they pay. So it depends on how long you've been in the business and where you're at, and with your compensation especially, but I'm just going to use the example of like 50%. Some places is lower, some places it's higher, depends on your the company that you go to work for, the experience you have, all sorts of different opportunities and whatnot, but I'm just going to use 50% for simple math. If somebody spends $1,000 a year, which is like $90 some a month, I think, then if you get 50%, you would get $500. And so you'd be surprised how many people are paying that much for life insurance. That's not really expensive for life insurance, especially in today's economy. And the funny part about all of it is that whenever you're doing this, you get a chance to meet several of those people per day. That it can get pretty crazy pretty fast. Because if you meet two people who are willing to put $90 a month into protecting their family's finances, like you can have a really crazy day there. And so it averages out. Some days are better than others, the same way that it is with waiting tables, which is kind of how I was used to that already. But when you can make some serious cheddar doing this stuff. And the wild part is, there's always room for growth, right? The longer you are, the better you get. The better you get, the more that you're going to make, et cetera, et cetera. The more you practice and the more you learn and so on and so forth. What I kind of realized for me was that communication is the most valuable skill that you could possibly have, right? Because if you can communicate, you can get other people to do things or get them to help you or go and get the dream job or whatever it is that you want. And so having worked in gym sales at this point and waiting tables, I had been building this skill up, and what I thought was a waste of my time had actually helped me prepare for what I was going to do in this business. And when I got into it at first, I was just feeling it out, still new to everything. But what I realized is I had people who had lost family members and friends, and they had been stuck with, having to pay for a funeral, and it put them in debt, and all these crazy stories that I saw that I didn't even know existed. People were crying on my shoulder, sobbing while I was at their house, because like I said, I started out going to people's houses. And it was wild because this is this whole untapped world that I didn't even know existed. And it was a really emotional thing for people that I didn't ever even nobody ever talks about life insurance. And so for me, this was a weird, interesting experience to see that I could actually make really good money helping people instead of just some of the stuff that you see on TV where the rich guys are bad guys and all this stuff. You don't have to be a bad person to make good money, which is if you're from a smaller area like I am, a lot of the times that's kind of the notion is if somebody's making good money, they try to paint them as a bad person, and that's really not the case. There are bad people making money, but you don't have to be. And so the day-to-day is really super simple with what I'm doing now. I work from home. I wake up at 5:45, go to the gym, and I'm pretty disciplined with my time. I just have breakfast and go to work at about 8, take a lunch break. And then, like I said, I work for about 50 minutes on every hour. So I usually will take about 10 minutes off every hour so that I can get the maximum output out of my time while I am working. And then I'll have dinner typically at about 6:30, and then will finish up for the day. And then that's kind of my week schedule, Monday to Friday. My weekends differ a little bit. And so the way that I'm able to make about $10,000 per month is that in the system that I'm working here at Zoosurance is basically I call people up and we have unlimited leads. So I just call them up, I offer them the life insurance. And so all I have to do is basically talk to about 3 people per day, and usually one of them will buy. Now, what I aim for is 5 people per day. So if I can get 5 people per day to hear me out, then basically 1 to 3 of them will purchase, depending on the average where I'm falling on the day. So if some days I only get 1 of them, some days I get none of them, some days I get 3 or 4 of them. So on average, I usually will get about probably 2. I think 2 for every 5 is the number. I'd have to look back at it and dive deep into my numbers, but just off the top of my head, I think it's 2 for every 5, something like that. But basically, it's a very it's a statistic game. You're sifting through dirt to find gold. So it's you make 300 phone calls, 30 people pick up, probably half of them hang up on you. Usually about 10 of them will book an appointment or just, they'll tell you hey, this isn't a good fit or whatever. And then the last like 5 or so, which is a third of the people that actually stayed on the phone, will actually have a conversation with you about it. And then of those, let's say 1 buys, for example. So you see it's a trickle down scenario where it's like 300 phone calls, 30 answers, 15 hang up, 10 book or tell you to kick rocks, 5 we'll have a conversation with you, and then depending on how good you are, anywhere from 1 to 3 might buy. It's a very small percentage of wins that pay out massive cash that are able to put you in a position to be like successful. But it's a fail till you win type of deal. It's kind of like mining for gold. Like you dig and dig and dig, and then when you hit gold, it's like, holy shit, I'm rich. And that's kind of the same way that it is with this. It's like a very mine for gold. When you hit it, it hits and it's great. But the majority of it is just digging, and you just have to be like super resilient for that. But the problem is that it wasn't really always like this for me. Most people fail miserably at this because they don't have what I'm about to show you next, which is just the right system. The problem is most people try to sell life insurance like completely wrong. A lot of them are just given no training whatsoever. And I've had friends who have even started by just going out to the grocery store or even going out to like the downtown area and then just making something happen, oftentimes with a clipboard or doing like a survey or just asking people if they're interested in looking into life insurance, which, by the way, if you try to do this, it's never going to work out. But basically, like my business partner and I have been making a system for the last 2 years that allows us to sell life insurance from home and then get dozens of people that are serious about buying life insurance every single day. And so between the training and practice that I've put into my skill set and the system that I have become a part of with my business partner, this is what allows me to succeed in this industry. And so basically the way that it works is we run an advertisement where the person reaches out to us asking for information on the life insurance. I call them with a phone number that looks like it's coming from their local area. So we talk to people all around the country, and it looks like we're calling them from the local area. And then from there, it's super simple. I basically just go through a short little interview survey question and introduce myself and make sure that I answer any questions they have and educate them on the process and how it works and how life insurance actually works, and make sure that they're fully informed on making the decision. And then from there, I just ask them, when they want to get it set up for and, see what's best for them, right? And so my business partner actually put together a full hour-long training of how you can start selling life insurance working from home. And you can click right here to watch it. We'll see you in the next one.